I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. In this season of the Get Your New View podcast, we will be talking with you all about training. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about gamification and achievements and how we can aid in retention of information by utilizing fun. Training that does not incorporate any fun doesn't accomplish the same results that training that incorporates fun does. Think about when you had to sit down and watch a whole bunch of videos back to back to back. That's not a whole lot of fun, is it? Now, think about a training scenario where you're able to have some fun. Maybe the instructor incorporates some humor. Maybe you have some fun toys to play with. Maybe you have some exercises to do that involve some interaction between your peer group and you. Maybe you even get a prize related to what you've learned. Even as adults, this sounds way more interesting than the alternative. Incorporating fun in training makes a big difference. It's actually a sneaky way of figuring out how we can repeat information, and we all know already that repetition and practice aids in retention of information. If you think about adults and adult learners, you'll also know that adults can often be fairly competitive. The spirit of play and fun can bring this competition out. And what happens when people become competitive? In general, they do things like study up on the stuff they learned so they can answer the questions correctly, if we're thinking about a quiz, or they practice something to see if they can get to the answer faster. All of these things are great things to happen because that means that in the process of the training, those adult learners are working on those techniques to practice to become better or to become faster or to become more accurate. And that is reinforcing what they have learned along the way. So let's talk a little bit about some of the games that we can play that help in retaining information, but also simply make it a more enjoyable experience. So what kind of games can we play during training? A couple of simple games are things like polls. Asking some questions about where people are at and what they think about things, especially in virtual environments with training that is being done remotely. Having these polls as part of the training increases the amount of connection that people have. It lets people know that other people are in my same spot, that other people are understanding or maybe not understanding. It helps the instructor to know if they're making a connection with the group. So polls are a great way to get people started with that. And we could do some fancy polls things. If you've ever seen a word cloud is just a special poll where we can aggregate the results all together so people can see and compare what other people have said about it. There are all kinds of tools that can help with that kind of thing with simple polls. Quizzes are another thing. Certainly quizzes are probably the more traditional type of fun that we're used to seeing when it comes to training. And hopefully this isn't like your third grade math teacher who gave you the paper worksheet of math problems to do in a time test. I always hated those. Quizzes should be designed so that they are repeating the information and giving you some time to think about it in an alternative way. We like to use a tool called Kahoot. It's Kahoot. It's actually designed for third graders, but adults love it because it encourages a spirit of competition, because there's a cumulative score that's tracked along the way. And at the end, there's a podium with a first, second, and third prize winner. And we absolutely incorporate this into our training, and we give out prizes for those winners because this encourages people to participate. The competition makes them want to apply themselves to those questions so that they can have our silly prizes with gold stars and trophies and medals. So quizzes are a great way to do that. Here's another idea on what else you can incorporate in your training. This really isn't the same type of thing as a poll or a quiz, but have you ever had some kind of toy that you could fidget with? I don't know if you've had your kids or your grandkids where they've got the little fidget spinners that were so popular for a while. Think about the koosh balls or even like a Rubik's Cube. I'm probably aging myself with these toy references, but there's all kinds of fidget toys that you can give to people to keep their hands busy while they're learning. This is a different type of fun. When we have classes in person, though, we always give everybody a variety of fidget toys to keep their hands busy. And adult learning concepts often will say that if we can engage our hands in some type of activity, that our brains are easier to engage. I know that there's a lot of people who knit who have this same experience, that if they're listening to a lecture or something, that knitting while doing that aids in that retention. And I'll tell you a great story about a company I went to. So I went to a company to do some training, and we had about 10 or 15 people in the class, and we had them sitting in a big conference room, and I had given everybody their toys. And one of the higher-ups in the room looked at the toys and scoffed and said, "I don't need a toy to help keep my brain engaged," and it kind of shut everything down, and nobody really wanted to play with the toys anymore. This happens. And what was really interesting is that we got into a part of the training that was particularly important to them, and some heated debate started, and people started really brainstorming and thinking about how to solve this particular problem for their company. And pretty soon, the majority of the people in the room had some of those fidget toys in their hands, and they were playing with them as they were coming up with solutions and thinking things through. So don't dismiss the idea of fidget toys and how that can help your brain to go a little bit farther than what you thought it could. We've talked a little bit about prizes and the fact that that incorporates a spirit of competition. And I guess really the thing that we need to think about is, with polls and quizzes and fidget toys and prizes, what is all this doing? It really is helping to set the stage for learning, and it's providing some repetition and some connection while also incorporating some fun. Anytime that we have people in a class together who are making that connection on what they're learning, that is actually adding a different element of fun, that camaraderie, that social aspect. So that type of thing is important too, where we have input that's coming from our peers for how we are learning or what the concept is, or to help each other just to get what it is being talked about. So here's your action for this particular week. Think about the type of fun that you can incorporate with learning. When you're hiring a company to train your team, are they using those methods? If you're incorporating training into your company where you're having people watch video over and over and over again, that is going to be less effective than something where there is some gamification or achievements involved. So put that on your list of things to look for when you're arranging for that training for your company. Next week, we're going to talk about a different concept of training, the power of drip training. I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense, real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you. Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.